Welcome. So we're going to be doing the interview today, and I'm wondering whether or not you've already watched some of these on YouTube.
I have not.
Oh, great. So this is you're in for a surprise. So we're just going to be asking you a couple questions about your experience with your project, and then moving into your experience with the program in general. So, do you want to start us off by, introducing yourself a little bit, and also what was the project, the subject area, and then the professor that you worked with?
Yeah, so the project was about viewing different logical theories and then trying to understand the validity that went into them. And I know that's kind of abstract, but basically what it centered around was looking at, so the two theories that I was interested in was logical monism and logical pluralism. And logical monism says that there's like one logic that applies through the values of validity, but then logical pluralism says that there's multiple logical systems that can suffice. So I just wanted to kind of look into the difference between the two and what kind of logical theories like really mapped into those two. And then I worked with Dr. Owen Griffiths.
Mm. And so, part of your decision that you had to make when you were applying was whether or not you were going to do this project through the Future Scholar program or the one-on-one program. So, which one did you decide on, and what helped you make that decision?
So I did the Future Scholar program, and I think what made me lean towards that was that I really wanted to be around people that were interested in the same subject. So I think just being able to work like in a class of people that were interested in philosophy and interested in how logical theories worked was something that I really wanted to have. And then I think also it is different when you gain like kind of opinions or feedback from other people in a class. So I really looked to like whenever we were in a class setting, having other people ask questions and then that kind of shaping my own understanding. So that was something that I wanted to have essentially.
Have you had any, seminar experiences at your high school as well? Is that why you were looking for more, or was this sort of a new format for you?
I haven't had seminar experiences, I would say. I mean, I've had things like Socratic seminars in English class, but I think most of the work was mainly around philosophy. And I really wanted to take that a step further by writing a research paper, which is why I was interested in CCIR. But I think in terms of the work that I've done with seminars, it's been quite minimal.
But so what I'm hearing, and the reason why I asked that question is that you really did appreciate the conversational
Mhm.
piece to it, and there almost is not only the vertical structure learning between you and the professor, or the TA, but then also horizontal, right? Like between you and your peers. So then through the conversations that you had with your peers, did that also help inform the narrowing down of your own topic?
I think based on whatever my peers were interested in, I just had some ideas of where I could go in terms of what I wanted to explore. So even if it didn't directly relate to the topic that I was interested in, I found ways to kind of look into the theories that my like peers were interested in and then figure out how that could kind of fit into my own topic. I mean, I don't think I actually used a lot of the information that they were using for their own theories just because we were exploring different types of topics, but just being able to read some articles that they had posted like on the Dropbox folder with CCIR and looking at the different kinds of projects that people were interested in and how that kind of related to my own research was interesting because I think there's a lot of connections in the realm of philosophy and how different types of philosophers may have different opinions, but it still ties into the same subject. So I think that was interesting for me.
Yeah, so in a way, it mimics the way that research is done in the real world, where you're not necessarily just doing it in your own vacuum, but there are a lot of different scholars and you build off of each other's ideas and you become inspired. So, did you know coming into the course that this was the question that you wanted to look at, or, were you starting off just, I want to take this course and then see what happens?
I didn't exactly know what kind of topic, I guess, that I wanted to explore for a research paper. I knew that I liked philosophy and I knew that I was interested in the idea of validity because I had already taken a course that was about logic and that was something that I had a lot of interest in. And I'd also read like philosophy papers. So I knew that that general area was something that I found a lot of interest in, but I don't think I had a clear path of what exactly I wanted to research. So I think the course was helpful in just figuring out the potential ideas that I could research and then really fitting in my own interest with that. Because I was also interested in, for example, like figuring out how math relates to logical theories. So being able to understand like how different connectives and like different axioms related to whatever I was saying was super interesting. It was something where like, even though I wasn't necessarily incorporating a specific mathematical theory, I could still understand how the process of like deriving a theory in mathematics related to the research that I was doing. So it gave me, I think, a clear understanding of how all these different disciplines connected.
And it sounds like a really great foundational experience too, because it's not so specific that you can only use it in one area. So, how do you think this research project, or has this research project, helped you inform your decision of, I guess, your academic pursuits to come in the future, even in college, or just what you're looking at, down the road?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I'm definitely interested in philosophy and logical theory still, and that's something that I want to continue into college. I don't know whether that's necessarily going to be my major of choice, but I think there are so many opportunities in a college experience to explore that, even if it's in terms of doing a research project with a professor or integrating that with like a discipline that I'm interested in. Like, for example, I'm very interested in statistics, but that goes very well with something like the social sciences. And I know philosophy really is incorporated into that. So I think just finding ways to incorporate something like philosophy into a discipline that I'm actually going to pursue in college is something that I really look forward to.
Yeah, that's so exciting. How far along are you in the college, application process or research process?
I definitely am pretty far along just because I'm a rising senior. So I've had to look into different colleges and draft some essays and, do interviews. So that's been something that has been on my mind. But I think being able to hone the skills that I've gotten from researching is something that I've really been able to do because in college, like one of the main things that I want to do is pursue a research project with a professor or pursue it independently. But I definitely think that research is something that I want to continue. And I think CCIR has given me a good foundation for that.
Yeah, I guess also in terms of the specific project that you did here, are you able to showcase it anywhere? Or do you have any plans, I guess taking it forward and sharing it with other people?
I mean, I'm hoping to get it published because I think if I'm able to do that, then it's very easy to share it with my friends and family and other people that I know, but then also just share it with different contexts that I have and really publicize that. That's something that I want to do. And I know it depends on whether, my paper does get published, which I think obviously requires submitting to different journals and conferences, but I do think that that's definitely something that I want to do, like spread the word and um, be able to use that paper to reach different people.
And here at the Academy, we do have a team that's dedicated to helping you guys along with that process. So, have you started that process yet? Looking at different journals to submit your paper to?
Yes, so I have reached out to the team and they have gotten back with some journals and conferences that I can look into, and they're still in the process of giving me edits on the paper that I submitted so that I can be able to fully update that in order to submit it to a journal or conference. And so that's something that I'm excited for. But yeah, I've definitely been able to use those contexts.
Yeah, that's super exciting. It's also a really long journey, I would say, and so it definitely also requires, continued communication, even after the program ends, between you and the team. So, I wish you the best of luck. I hope your paper gets published. And I guess the last question that I have for you if is there anything that you would like to share with students who might be looking to apply? Um, in terms of stuff that you wish you'd known before you joined the program.
I think just being diligent about reaching out when you need help with something. Like, for example, I sometimes wasn't exactly sure how I should steer a research paper, but then my TA was super helpful in terms of being able to figure out how I can really make my research paper more well-rounded as a whole. I mean, I think like a lot of times when you write a research paper, you're not really thinking about like, you're thinking about it in terms of what you're interested in and your own look, but then what you're really trying to do is geared towards an audience that doesn't know anything about your topic. So being able to have that insight to be able to write it in a way that is understandable for people that don't know about the topic was something that was new for me, just because I was writing in a way where like I understood, and I was writing it in kind of an abstract way. So I think being able to change the way that I was writing it to break it down was something that I valued. So yeah, just being able to be aware of that and understand how you can gear whatever you're writing towards a common audience is something that I think is important. And then just using the context that you have through CCIR, I think is important as well.
Yeah, I love that. I think you really speak to, not only how do you consume knowledge, but also how do you share knowledge, right? And if academics are doing research sort of in an echo chamber and writing research papers in a way that's very esoteric and inaccessible to the public, then it really, really, it widens the knowledge gap, right? And it just
Mhm.
makes it into something that is um, almost elitist. So for you, being able to take in that knowledge and also learn to be a better communicator, I think is something that as a byproduct comes out of this process. So great. Thank you so much for joining us today. And good luck with your paper. Good luck with your college application process.
Okay, thank you so much. Bye bye.